to get in the sports scene a little more and more. They hired Hugh Freeze in football. They got some legitimate basketball recruits. Now, I got some questions about how Liberty's getting these recruits, but that's for another day.
They're doing a lot of praying.
That's well done.
To the G League, Grayson Allen playing for the Salt Lake City Stars. Check out the one-handed alley-oop.
Go ahead, C. I know you're happy for Grayson. Good for him, trying to make his NBA career.
Dude is playing in the gym where they got one side of the bleachers rolled up now. He's a long way from Duke.
Long way from Duke. And can we... Next time we run
Ain't
that,
no Cameron crazies there, homie.
On his way up the court, just watch him. I think there's a defender that got tripped trying to chase him.
Knicks and Magic. Alonzo Trier getting to the basket with a nice spin move.
All right, Knicks. Alonzo Trier, Mitchell Robinson. Those guys are going to be nice complementary players to go along with KD and Kyrie next year. Future's bright, New York. Frankie Nicotine needs to start actually playing, but these guys are some nice players.
All right, let's move on to the Celtics. They got blown out by 23 points to the Toronto Raptors last night. The Celtics' biggest loss of the season. Kyrie, who just days ago said nobody could beat this Celtics team in 7 games, was held to just 7 points last night. Boston has dropped 5 of their last 7 now. Is it chemistry? Is it effort? Is it coaching? Here's Marcus Smart when asked what he thinks is wrong with the team.
We're just not together. The last couple of years we were together, and now things hit, we become stronger. We're not there yet. And like I said, we're going to get there. It's just taking time.
Marcus said that you guys aren't playing together. Is that a fair diagnosis?
Is Marcus' opinion?
Is it yours? Brad talked about just defensively, you guys have been taking shortcuts. So do you see that, and how do you guys fix things like that at this point in the season, do you feel like?
I don't know, it's up to Brad.
Let's see.
I've been in that situation many a times. Not a good feeling.
Well, you just don't want to answer, just trying to get out of there as quickly as possible.
All right, Nick, this next stretch for the Celtics, this playoff push, how is that going to affect Kyrie's future with Boston?
It's the only hope they have to keep him. The only hope they have to keep him is a minimum of an Eastern Conference Finals run, and probably more than that. But if the playoffs go the way this season has gone, which is they'll be lucky to get out of the first round and be a heavy underdog in the second round, then he's gone. Why would he stay? Like, someone make the argument as to why Kyrie Irving, when this season has been already a disappointment. Vegas had him with the second highest projected win total of any team in basketball, behind only the Warriors. Why this season, which has not been fun, which has not involved a lot of winning, which has not involved anything other than Kyrie's individual numbers are some of the best of his career, but he doesn't look like a guy that's having a great time. He has talked about the struggles of being a team leader, of being the man on a team. Why would he stay? Because NBA players are so well known to love living in Boston? I'm not aware of that. Like, why? Because he gels so well with the coach? Doesn't seem that way, and I still believe Brad seems a very good coach, but certain players fit certain styles better than others. Like, what's the argument for it? Because he's from Boston? No, he's from up here. Like, or down here, I guess, compared to Boston. I can't see a scenario where he stays unless the Celtics have some playoff switch, something clicks, and the team that most people thought they would be, the overwhelming favorite in the East, shows up here in about 6 weeks.
Let's just say the Celtics right now were the 1 or 2 seed in the East. What do you think the questions would be?
Oh, I mean, can they compete with the Warriors?
Right.
How good, how much of this team will you trade to get Anthony Davis, or do you just want to run it back?
Right. And then Jenna might re-tee us up and be like, have the Celtics increase the chances of keeping Kyrie Irving.
Of course.
Yeah, and we'd be like, so now that they're not winning.
And the answer would be a unanimous yes. It would be obvious.
Yes, and now we've had multiple veteran players. Marcus Smart, don't like it. We don't play together.
Marcus Morris.
Marcus Morris. Man, we're not having a good time. Kyrie Irving, in the fall, I'm coming back. Oh, I don't want to talk contract till the summer.
Talk to me July 1st. I don't
All
know
the body language. But I think the most important thing in this was something we didn't see on TV, and Nick, in talking with you, was Danny Ainge had a conversation with Kyrie Irving before he met with the media.
Right. According to NBC Sports Boston, I want to give credit because I obviously didn't see it. When they open up the locker room to the reporters, Danny Ainge and Kyrie are having a little quiet powwow. Kyrie then does a couple questions, which I did see on the players-only broadcast on TNT, and then he has his very concise 19 total words in his answers to the local and national media who's there. And I'm very curious what those, I feel like Danny Ainge, this is the constant massaging of the relationship. This is what he is more worried about right now than anything else is, will Kyrie stay? Because if Kyrie doesn't stay, they're not in the game for Anthony Davis. If Kyrie doesn't stay, and if he leaves and Anthony Davis isn't there, then who are they really? What is their team really, other than $55 million next year allocated to Horford and Gordon Hayward?
Yes, and I do understand when you're in that predicament as a player, you're frustrated, you're within 10 or 15 minutes of the game finishing, so you're trying to get your thoughts together. And sometimes you do get tired, even though it's a responsibility of just doing these interviews. But the things that really maybe raised a little extra for me was when you asked about another player. Typically, we have a relationship that if a player says something, I'm going to back up what the player said because we're together. Marcus Smart said, well, you guys aren't playing together. He didn't even I don't even want to be a part of that. Well, that was his opinion. Then we go to the coach. Well, what did the coach say? You guys are taking shortcuts. I'm not going to even validate the coach as being right. So I'm a man on my own island. Whatever they said is on them because Kyrie Irving's been questioned by his teammates of his leadership and things he said earlier. So now after the biggest loss of the season, you know what he says? I'm not going to respond and or qualify any of the answers that those other guys said because I'm by myself.
And because he had just put himself on an island after the Bulls game. He said nobody going to beat us in 7.
Yes.
All right, well, Toronto's one of those teams. It's one thing to lose to the Bulls. They're not going to be playing the Bulls in the playoffs. They're not going to be there. But Toronto just whooped you. And you feel that confident right now? You're going to say after that game, a game where you get beat by 23 in the second quarter, oh, they can't beat us in 7. No, you know what? You're right. So they whoop you in 5 right now. Like, it wouldn't get anywhere close to 7.
You said earlier, Danny Ainge's biggest issue right now is keeping Kyrie Irving. And who are they without Kyrie Irving? Well, maybe they're the team that made this incredible playoff push last year without Kyrie Irving. Maybe they're the team that somehow, some way in this system that Brad Stevens has put together somehow finds a way to play better when Kyrie Irving is not in the mix, even though the metrics say otherwise. Maybe they're the team that just plays better without one superstar, even though it might be short-lived and overrated.
And listen, if they are that team, then fine, so be it. But that
rope will only get you so far.
Right. That team cannot ever win a championship in today's NBA. The only way that team can win a championship is if Jason Tatum turns into a Kyrie Irving level player. And like what that team did last year was very impressive. They won a 7-game series against Milwaukee where they were 4-0 at home and 0-3 on the road. They then went to Philadelphia. They stole one road game in overtime, the game where the Philadelphia guy, remember, set off the confetti cannon because it looked like Philly had won. They win that series in 5, and then they go 3-1 at home against the Cavs and 0-3 on the road, and LeBron sends them home. Like, teams like that have a ceiling. You have to have stars to win championships in this league. We've seen one team in the last 40 years win a title without a true superstar. The 04 Pistons, and it was a confluence of a lot of events that came together for that team to do it. It's not a legitimate way to win championships.
And you can't create a system that does not leave room or the variance within that system to have a guy that can take over the game. In the NBA, if Brad's going to be a quality coach for a long time, you need a couple different systems. And one's got to include, I need a superstar. Because you're going to have the same thing. What if you get Anthony Davis? That system has to include a superstar in this new NBA.
And just very quickly, you didn't pull off the heist of the century in that Nets trade to be in 2019 saying, but give us 3 years for our young guys to develop. You did it because you were going to win championships or compete for them right now, and the Celtics look a long ways away.